Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. My name is Joey. This is going to be my post-fight for UFC Vegas 27, Rob Font versus Cody Garbrandt. This was such an important fight in the bantamweight division, and Rob Font wins a dominant decision over Cody Garbrandt. I predicted Cody Garbrandt to win, but I got this one completely wrong. Rob Font came out there, and I knew Rob Font had a legitimate chance to win this fight. I just thought Cody would get it done with his speed and power. But Rob Font came out there and for 5 rounds, he picked his shots. He was defensively responsible, hands always right at his chin, blocking. Super, fast, just snappy with that jab. And he jabbed Cody's face off all night long. For everyone who joined me on the live fight stream, I appreciate you guys. It was a lot of fun. We watched the entire main card, and I appreciate all you guys. But Rob Font, what a masterful performance. And this is a performance that's going to propel him forward because Cody Garbrandt is one of the very few big names in the bantamweight division, former champion. But something about Cody Garbrandt just seemed off to me tonight. I said it after the first round. He looked exhausted. I don't know if this had something to do with an injury or potentially him being off for so long and being sick for 6 to 8 months, something like that. But Cody just looked off. Either Cody looked really off or Rob Font looked really on. Rob Font pressured him the entire fight. I don't think there was a second in the fight that Cody Garbrandt was taking steps forward. In the first round, Rob Font caught him a couple times and hurt him. And he caught him quite a few times throughout the fight and kind of stunned Cody. It wasn't a real bad rock, but he stunned him a couple times. And Cody's brightest moments in this fight, and I mentioned it in my prediction video, I thought he would use this. But he didn't use it enough, and I complained about that in my prediction video. He doesn't use it enough. Were the calf kicks, and he threw a couple tonight on Rob Font. Rob Font's very heavy on that front lead leg, and Cody just didn't use enough of them. He did use them, but just not enough. Cody also did get a few takedowns, which I said Rob Font's biggest weakness in his game is his takedown defense. Cody got him down a couple times, but Rob Font, even though his defensive wrestling isn't that great and his takedown defense needs a lot of work, he does show the ability to get back up, and he's not one of those guys that just gets taken down and accepts the position for the entire fight. Cody took him down a couple times in the first, second, and third round, I believe. I might be off on that. It's hard to remember everything that happens. It all kind of goes together. But Rob Font found his way back to his feet multiple times. He was just stinging Cody with the jab and then following right behind it. He was backing Cody up against the fence all night. It was weird when Cody was getting backed up against the fence. He was dropping his hands similar to what he did in the Assunção fight when he knocked him out. And Rob Font wanted nothing to do with that. He would not engage when Cody did that. I guess, a lot of fighters, it's almost like a brain thing, When a guy starts trying to coax you in, you're like, I'm not falling for this. Because Cody was just dropping his hands as low as possible when he was backed up against the fence. And Rob Font just kept backing up and just picking his shots, jabbing. Rob Font has one of the best jabs in MMA, and he used that reach advantage he has over Cody Garbrandt and just snapped that jab out there all night long. Sometimes he followed it, sometimes he didn't. But he just beat Cody everywhere tonight. Cody looked exhausted after the first round. Cody's face was absolutely destroyed. Cody landed a couple shots, but really all night he was just retreating to the back of the cage. And Rob Font was pressuring him nonstop, landing good jabs, landing good overhands. And Cody just had absolutely no answer for it. He didn't seem aggressive at all in this fight. He seemed slow. I was talking about in my prediction video how fast he is. He looked very, very slow tonight. And I don't know if Rob Font is just that good. I know Rob Font is an elite, world-class bantamweight fighter, and I saw an avenue to victory for him in this fight. I picked Cody Garbrandt. I was not super confident. I felt like I was going to be right. It was a good pick. It wasn't a 50-50. But like in the Charles Oliveira-Michael Chandler fight, I said I was confident in Charles Oliveira to win this fight. I saw the avenues to victory for Rob Font. I just didn't think he was going to get it done, I got to admit when I'm wrong. And Rob Font gets this massive win. If Rob Font can shore up his takedown defense, which I don't know if he can. It's been such an issue for such a long time, and you see guys who have this issue, Nate Diaz, Tony Ferguson, and maybe, they can adjust it and fix it, but it just always seems like it's a lingering issue for their entire careers. And Rob Font has that issue. And this was a big fight. This was a big win. The bantamweight division is kind of logjam right now. You have Yan, who's the champion, but not really the champion because he illegally kneed Aljamain Sterling. So Aljamain Sterling's technically the champion. Aljamain Sterling just had surgery, so he's going to be out till October, November. Then you have TJ Dillashaw returning after 2 years off, former bantamweight champion and big name at bantamweight, fighting Corey Sandhagen supposedly in July. And that could be the next in line for the title shot. So if Rob Font wants to sit out, and this was a great win over a legit guy in Cody Garbrandt, but if Rob Font wants to sit out for a title shot, he's going to be sitting out till mid-2022 at best. I know maybe he could slide in there if somebody was injured or whatnot, but he's going to have to fight somebody else, and I don't know who that will be. But right now, the division is just log jammed with the Aljamain Sterling rematch having to happen against Peter Yan because of that stupid illegal knee. Drives me nuts. So I don't know what Rob Font is going to do next, but to beat a guy like Cody Garbrandt and beat him as dominantly as he did, he really didn't get touched in this fight. Cody, I can't remember any real big shots that Cody landed, and the best shots of the night were the calf kicks from Cody Garbrandt, and he only maybe landed 4 or 5 of those, maybe 6. Rob Font really didn't get touched. I love Rob Font's striking. I can't wait to see him in a potential, number 1 contender fight or even a title fight. Right now, when I look at the bantamweight division, I compare everyone to Peter Yan. And I hate to say this, after I've praised Rob Font all night, amazing performance over Cody Garbrandt, but I don't like anybody's chances against Peter Yan. It's just, he's just so well-rounded. He's great everywhere. And with Rob Font's, grappling issues, his takedown defense issues, I really think Yan could, if the striking isn't going Yan's way, which might very well be, Yan could take him down and beat him up. He out-grappled Aljamain Sterling. And Aljamain Sterling's probably, considered the best grappler in the division. But you can't take this away from him. A lot of people were doubting him in this fight, myself included. But he gets it done. And in such dominant fashion, he hurt Cody multiple times throughout this fight. He started to get more patient in like the 3rd, 4th, and 5th round because what was happening, he was hurting Cody and then rushing in, and Cody was being able to take him down. So he kind of started to really pick his shots. The jab was just repetitive all night long, and every single time he threw it, it landed. I like seeing a guy who has a reach advantage and actually uses it. I hate when you see a guy with a massive reach advantage and he just doesn't use it. We've seen Stefan Struve for years never use his reach advantage. He had such an advantage over most guys and would never use it. So it was nice to see Rob Font go out there. I would have liked to see him more aggressive in those 3rd, 4th, 5th rounds, but I think he was getting a little bit nervous about the takedowns, because Cody, he was getting over aggressive and then Cody was just shooting through him and taking him down. But he had the ability to get up, and Cody was only getting more tired. The shots came harder because Cody did try a couple takedowns in his later rounds, but Rob Font fended him off. So I just wish, I think he could have finished Cody Garbrandt, but I guess, maybe we get a little more, information on Cody's chin. It held up tonight. He was hurt a few times, but Rob Font landed some big shots and Cody was able to survive. Cody's in a tough spot now, though. He's lost 4 out of his last 5. He's lost 2 to TJ, 1 to Pedro Munoz, and now 1 to Rob Font. He beat Rafael Sunsao. I don't know where Cody goes from here. Maybe down the flyweight because he's kind of, stuck. I don't know what he does in the division. I'd like to see. I hate when guys have excuses after the fight, but he really just did not look like himself tonight. He looked slow. He looked tired in the first round, after the first round. And I don't know if that lingering illness that he had for 6 months caused some type of deficiency tonight. We've seen it with Khamzat Chimaev having lung issues. He's been out since, I think, September of last year and is not coming back till this summer. So I'd like to hear. I hate to, when guys make excuses for losses, but I'd like to hear it. But no matter what, I don't want to take anything away from, Rob Font tonight. Absolutely amazing performance. The only other fight that I really wanted to talk about tonight was Carla Esparza versus Yan Xiaonan. And Carla Esparza came out there and absolutely dominated her from start to finish. She took her down in the first round, was ground and pounding her. It was a little bit of baby shots in the beginning, but she started to open up more as the round ended. I think she cut her open in the first round, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong on that. But really started to land, some good shots in that, first round, towards the end of the first round. Then the second round came out, took her down again, worked her way to the crucifix, and just started brutalizing her. And finally, the refs stepped in. Second round TKO for Carla Esparza. A lot of people were high on Xiaonan, and people were talking about this as a number one contender fight for strawweight. And Carla Esparza may be next in line now. I don't know if they're going to do the Rose versus Weili rematch, but Carla Esparza is next in line if they don't do that. Carla Esparza has a win over Rose. And not only did she win, she came out and had a dominant performance. So that really means a lot in today's day and age where Dana's really looking for dominant performance. You don't want to come out and have a super boring performance and then beg for a title shot, especially when there's other options like Weili Zhang, which I think they're probably going to go with Rose Namajunas versus Weili Zhang next. But Carla has improved. I think her striking still looks pretty bad. We didn't see very much of it tonight. Xiaonan had no chance. She offered no resistance from the bottom. She was held down nonstop. And she really just offered nothing. It didn't even seem like she was trying to get up. She had the Kevin Holland treatment. And it was sad to see, to be honest. I was looking for a very competitive fight in the co-main event, and it just wasn't. Carla Esparza dominated her, split her open badly in the forehead. There was a couple bad cuts tonight. And I forgot about this. But anyway, I think Carla Esparza is on the track for a title shot very, very soon. I forgot about this fight because it was so early on in the card. This fight should have arguably been the co-main event. I love this fight as far as on paper. So I'll talk about it a little bit too. Jack Hermansson versus Edmen Shahbazyan. That was a very important fight in the middleweight division. I didn't do a prediction video for this fight, but I was picking Jack Hermansson by submission. Jack Hermansson gets the decision win. You got to respect Edmen Shahbazyan to lose the way he did to Derek Brunson and then come back and fight another guy who has heavy, heavy grappling. And Edmen Shahbazyan looked great in the first round. He was really ripping Jack Hermansson up. Hermansson's striking looked terrible. Shahbazyan was picking him apart. Shahbazyan had like a very low stance too, was ready to shake off the takedowns, and I think he did shake off a couple takedowns in the first round. And it was looking well for Shahbazyan. I thought after watching that first round, I said, okay, Shahbazyan's going to win this fight. But second round came out a little bit more of the same, but then eventually Hermansson got him down. It was a razor-close second round. I think at one point Edmen Shahbazyan ended up on top and was landing some ground and pound towards the end of the round. But I very barely gave that round Jack Hermansson. Then the third round came out, and Edmen Shahbazyan looked a little more fatigued, and Hermansson was able to get him down early and just ground and pound him for the rest of the fight. Just brutalized, some nasty elbows, some nasty ground and pound. And got a 10-8 third round. It was easily a 10-8 third round, and that's what the judges gave him. So Jack Hermansson came away with the decision in a winning need. But I'll say this right now, even in a win, Jack Hermansson didn't look super impressive to me. He came out more impressive in his loss to Marvin Vettori, in my opinion. His cardio looked terrible tonight. He looked tired early. Shahbazyan, it's sad to say because Shahbazyan was such an interesting prospect. And now he's got 2 losses in a row. We've seen his grappling issues on display time and time again. And I don't know if it's just because of the grappling being taken down, but his cardio needs work for sure. After the fight, Jack Hermansson called out Robert Whittaker. And let me just say this right now. I usually, say, I'll give you my early prediction, but I might change it. He called out Robert Whittaker, and Robert Whittaker would beat the brakes off the Jack Hermansson that showed up tonight against Edmen Shahbazyan, without a doubt. He's not going to be able to get Robert Whittaker down with the ease that he got Edmen down in the second and third round. And Robert Whittaker is a far superior striker, in my opinion, than Edmen Shahbazyan. Maybe not technically, but MMA striker Robert Whittaker is nasty. And second off, if Robert Whittaker has to fight another fight without getting a title shot, I'm going to throw up. That's ridiculous. Robert Whittaker has earned his way back to the title, and he should be fighting for the title at the end of this year. But as far as their next fights, I don't know where Edmen goes from here. 2 losses in a row. He was supposed to be a guy that was going to be challenged for a belt pretty soon. They gave him Derek Brunson. A lot of people thought he was going to walk through Derek Brunson, myself included. And Brunson sent him back. Brunson's the contender killer. And now he comes out. I got to respect him for taking a very hard matchup in the fight returning after that loss to Derek Brunson. He took on Jack Hermansson. It didn't work out for him. He looked good early in the first round. He needs to go back, work on his wrestling, work on his cardio. And I'll definitely be interested to see his future fights. I think that pretty much does it for this post-fight. Let me know what fight you guys enjoyed most on this card. Please like the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.